Morning, everyone.
Morning.
If there is anyone there.
There's plenty of one.
Hope everybody's okay, feeling well. Lovely day here. We'll go into it the usual. Not going to teach you anything, can't tell you anything. All I do is point and ask you to look to where we're pointing to see for yourself. See for yourself. The very seeing, very cognising is the seeing, and recognising that is what you are already right here, right now, in this present awareness. Presence awareness, not even present, presence. It's actually changing every moment. The present is more ways moving into the past, but the presence is the actuality between the past and the future. Presence awareness. And what we point to is non-duality, translated, meaning one without a second, one without the other, not two, only this one, only, alone, solely, the soul, S-O-L-E. And we point out that you, I, and everything else is always already that. I am that is the great mantra they tell you to look at and repeat. Innately, don't you know it?
Yeah.
Can you say you are not that? You can't. And you look around you and you see that's the chair, that's the carpet, that's the flower, that's the tree, that's the sky. You see that everything is already that, but we discriminate it by putting the label on. If we don't put the label or the word on it, has it moved away or separated from its thatness? And how long does it last as thatness? Because it's vibrating, it's transient, it's constantly changing. But the essence of it is the thatness. And that already is, and what was, it was that, it will be that, can be that, may be that. But it's still, every which way you put it, it's always that. And that is what they describe as omnipresence, total presence, omnipotence, total power, and omniscience, total intelligence. Three aspects of the one. The other two factors they talk about, nama rupa. Nama is the name or the label we've been put on us, or we take it and believe what I am. I'm Bob, for instance, that's the label. My parents told me. And the form it's expressing through is this body, and the mind in the body. The body-mind go together. Body's in the mind is in the body. They both are in the shape and form. Mind is a name, a label. Form is the pattern, the shape in which it expresses. They say name and form are Maya. They're illusory. And when you look at it, they are. Because this form is constantly changing. You haven't got the same body you sat down with this Skype a few minutes ago. It's transient, it's constantly changing. There are thousands of cells dying in it right now and being replaced. And so you don't notice the change. So it's seemingly stationary, seemingly static. But you look back on it a couple of years ago and you'll see it certainly changed then. But in the moment, it doesn't seem to change, yet it is also. Not recognised, not recognized. So if we think we are this body-mind, we find a centre to it, a static point which you can say, this is where I begin. Well, where do you believe you began? You'll say, well, I began at birth. But can you remember your birth? You can't remember your birth. Why? Why don't you remember your birth if you think you began there? Because you had no words to explain it or tell you what it was at the time. And so it wasn't in your memory as a concept, as a conceptual image, a word, incept. And you didn't have any concepts or words at that time. When did you learn words? And you realise you didn't learn words till you were somewhere around the age of 2, 2.5, or younger, or older, or however smart you were, and you learnt words. So what must you realise or recognise from that? That every word I have ever spoken or likely to speak has been learnt. I've heard it, or picked it up, or read it in the dictionary, and recognise it. So, and I've taken myself to be, I am Bob the Australian, the body-mind, the name and form, and added onto it other concepts. I'm good, or I'm not so good, I'm bad, or I'm not so bad, I'm unhappy, I'm fearful, I'm anxious, I'm depressed. All these concepts are added to it, concepts. What's a concept? You realise a concept is a thought or a mental construct. A thought is a mental construct. Where does the thought come from? Sound. Sound vibrates as a word. And subtle sound is subtle. Silence is subtle before the word is spoken, is subtle, very subtle word. It's a subtle level. It becomes more solid when it comes out as sound. When it becomes out as word, as a vibration. And whatever the sound or word is translated as, good or bad, pleasant, painful, happy or sad, all those sounds reverberate or resonate in the body. And the body resonates to them and becomes affected by the word. Sensations. Word is our sensations. Thoughts based on subtle thoughts. Thoughts first. Thoughts are very subtle. And thinking can go on slightly. When it becomes less subtle, it becomes a word, which is sound. Sound is a vibration. And a vibration is a movement of energy. Now, I say all this manifestation is intelligence energy. I don't use the term God, I call it instead intelligence energy. And intelligence is knowing. And knowing is being aware of, or awareing, or conscious of. All appearing in that awareness. And the consciousness of existence appears on that awareness, and the words appear in the consciousness. And awareness appears in this body. It's utilising this body to express through. This pattern, this vibrating pattern, shape and form. The words or sounds are expressing through. So it's a vibration expressing through a vibration. Still the one essence, still the one saying. And the vibration seems to vibrate dualistically. Instead of being the one, it is the one vibration, but with the sounds and the words it divides up into two, me and other than me. One has become to more than me, has become two. So me or I is a concept we're putting ourselves, believing this to be what I am. And what is that thought? It's a thought, I am. And we say, I am put other labels. I am me. I am Bob. Bob is me. Be or I is what I am. What is it I am? It's a thought. But what's it mean? It's an expression of that sense of presence. The sense of presence is with you right now, vibrates as the thought. I am. And we add on all these other concepts. And you realise a concept or a word is not the thing. Because these words that you've learned, have a look, investigate, are they real? We believe them to be real, solid and substantial. But what substance has a thought got? What reality has it got? When it's only a vibration of energy. But we put the words into it, when it's given us an imagined or conceptual image, which seemingly solid, like body-mind is seemingly solid and substantial. But that's the label we put on a vibrating pattern of energy, which is constantly changing. So there's nothing solid or substantial about it whatsoever. Transience, it's constantly changing. But we still label it I or me, and we put the old label on it, and we label adding new concepts onto it. And generally, if we haven't investigated, they're generally more poor me. I'm not good enough, or I'm more fearful, or I'm anxious. Well, this is happening to me and that's happening to me. Instead of saying it as ever fresh, ever new, non-conceptual presence awareness, like they tell us in the scripture, which is whole, which is complete, which is realising it is that one self, not the personal self. So it's self-realising itself, or self-recognising itself. It's not something that personal self, which we call myself, has got to realise or become, but we think it is. We think this myself, which is a personal self, which is separate from the one self, the absolute, which is patterning, shaping and forming all this. We think that myself has got to become realised or enlightened. But becoming is not being. And tell me, when are you ever becoming? Or when you look at it, can you move away from this being that's with you right now? This being changes from being to being, to being to being. It's continually being. And it's knowing. It's a knowing being, an intelligence being, a functioning intelligence. And it's an energetic being. And becoming, it doesn't become. Because becoming implies a future time. That's another thing we've taken on board, the concept of time. But is there time if you don't think about it? Investigate this concept of time. If you ask yourself, what is wrong with right now if I don't think about it? What can I say about right now without a thought? Well, that takes all the thoughts away, doesn't it? If I look at that, what can I say without a thought? You realise you can't say anything at all. The innate intelligence or realisation goes on, and you can translate it later on. I can't say anything without a thought. And the thought is the word, and the word's not the real. So can you say it's as thought functions, right, wrong, good, bad, pleasant, painful, happy, sad? Without a thought, can you say it's right or wrong, good or bad, pleasant or painful, happy or sad? Without, you can't. What is it then? What is it then? It is it. It is it. Or it is. It's just as it is. What is part of the verb to be. It is that pure being, putting another label on isness. And they try to describe that isness as unaltered, unmodified, uncorrected. No preference, no partiality, no comparison. Just as it is in the self. Why not leave it as it is, without trying to alter it, modify it, and correct it? Who would be trying to alter it, modify it, or correct it? Me. The believed in entity that doesn't feel whole or complete. Why doesn't it feel whole or complete and absolute? Because it's got this belief it's separate. And the belief that I or me means there's other than I or me. There's not I or me. And that belief comes about spontaneously and automatically. And we forget that we are the absolute. We seemingly forget that we are one without a second, and focus into this believed in entity and seemingly try to make it real. Can you make something that is real? It's just a thought, an idea or an image. Can you make it real? Though it appears to be, just like it appears to be a body-mind, and the definition of phenomena is that which appears to be, so it's a phenomenal manifestation. So the thoughts appear to be separate. Seeming appear means seemingly so. Means it's not real, but it seems to be. What are you going to take? Stay with the truth or focus into the appearance, the reality? Take it to be real, which we seemingly do. Take it to be seemingly real. And in doing that, we've lost sight of our true nature. True nature is the absolute totality, here and now, in this moment. What can you add to the absolute? Nothing. It's total, complete. What can you take away from it? Nothing. It is total and complete. Or as they call it in Buddhism, the great perfection. Perfection is just another word for absolute, different name. Yeah. What can you add to the perfect? Nothing. What can you take away from it? So, this personal self, if it's not the absolute self, you can add all sorts of things to it, which we do. And you can take away all sorts of things to it, which we don't do. But we need to do. When we start discarding the idea that there is such a thing as a personal self, what must you be left with? And discard a lot. And discarding all these things, that means you've taken a burden off yourself, a burden of concepts. And if you take any burden or weight off yourself, it's made you much lighter. And isn't that enlightenment? You've enlightened or unenlightened yourself and gone back into your true nature. And there can be less conflict in that enlightenment. There can be less concern, less worry, less fear, less anxiousness, less distress. Because we're not fixating, we're not burdening ourselves down with the whole. We're letting it go and resolving into its moment, into this moment. Dissolving, I should say. Dissolving into this moment. But the Buddha told you that everything is perfect. He called it the unborn Buddha mind. The mind's not burdened with concepts. And then when he said that everything is perfectly resolved in the unborn mind. The unborn mind is a pure mind. It doesn't mean to say there's no mind there, because there is no such thing as a mind anyway. But there's no conceptual image of a mind. So it's pure. And everything is perfectly resolved in the unborn mind. Why exchange the unborn for thoughts? We don't leave it unborn for very long, do we? Because we soon add concepts to it and words. And load ourselves down with a burden again of concepts or words, which are not the real, and not the thing.
You want a question?
Yeah.
Yes, so there is a question from Amarnath. Thoughts belong to unseparated universal consciousness, cosmic mind, not of personal you. That's a quote from Nisargadatta. Dear Bob, kindly share your experience on this.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm pointing out here.
Yes?
Yeah. It's just pure mind, if you like to be it. Pure thought, pure thinking. and realise that we take it to be, I'm thinking these thoughts, it's mine, we take it to be the person, the thinker.
Yeah. I can say goodbye if you have a drink. I have some more. Hi everyone. Yeah, I'll just add on it so he can have a little sip. The thoughts are all impersonal. Like if you really think about any thought, it is composed with words, and words you learn, they belong to language, so they're not really yours. So the thoughts are not really yours. And how many thousands of people right at this moment can actually think the same sort of thoughts or ideas? They will be personalized in the particular pattern, but they're still the same thoughts. So thoughts also, by the fact that you don't know your next thought, they're just a part of the appearance. They're just part of the environment. Just like sounds are part of environment, thoughts are also sounds in a way. Just kind of an inner sounds. Yeah, so they completely, it's a good point, it's a good pointer and a good quote. So they're completely impersonal. They belong to universal consciousness or cosmic mind, in the words of Nisargadatta.
Impersonal. Where's the person come from? Persona, the mask. We've got a mask of concepts or thoughts. Impersonal, you've taken off the mask. You can't relate it to any concept. So the person is not the reality, but the impersonal, the presence awareness, the actual, that is the reality. It's universal and, as she's saying, and cosmic. It's the total. You are that totality. You are that reality. You are that absolute. But that's the seeming problem. We create the person, seeming person. And the point is, we try to become something from the idea of the person. Yeah. If we practice this and do that and do the other, meditate and do all these practices, worship the guru, bhakti and all that, we will become something. But that's not getting away from the person. It's giving the seeming person more power. Look at all the discipline I'm doing. I'm a good student, I'm a good bhakti, I'm a good this, I'm a good that. It adds more to it, instead of taking away from it. So it's not a matter of becoming enlightened or being enlightened, but all the enlightenment means is taking the load or the weight off yourself, the load or burden of concepts, unburdening yourself. And if you take the backpack off with all those things, you become much lighter, you know. You become enlightened. That's what enlightenment is, or realisation. When you make real, instead of locking into the beliefs, which we're constantly doing, we make real, make it, go back and lose the belief. You don't have to make it real, because when you know the truth and see the real as false, you're left with the truth. Left with the truth, and the truth is the real. So you see already that. And all this burden of concepts, ideas and thoughts and the belief that we're something other than what we are, has hidden it. Yeah. It's confused and hidden the reality. And that's what they call, in the scriptures, ignorance. Now we hear that word and we've got to think belief of what ignorance is. We think we're dull or stupid. If somebody tells you you're ignorant, you think you're dull or stupid. But in this terms, it doesn't mean that. It means we ignore. We don't focus on it, we gloss over it instead of seeing truth. We ignore our true nature and focus into the belief and try to make the belief real. But you've tried for many, many years, if you've been looking into this for a long time, and you haven't found it. Why? Because you've been looking in this so-called mind, trying to find the answer in the mind. Yeah. And maybe the answer's not there, because you're not ignorant. You know, you're pure knowing. And you've worked out many things. You've utilised this mind to its utmost. And you've worked out many things in the mind. But the answer to life, you've never found it. And wouldn't that just dawn on you as another thought? Well, I've looked here earnestly and sincerely for a long time. Haven't found the answer there. What would that imply? Well, it implied to me maybe I've been looking in the wrong direction. I've been trying to find this thing I call mind, the answer to it all, but I can't, because another concept will come up, another word, another thought, another idea, another image, another concept keep coming up. And it's not in the concepts, it's not in the ideas, it's not in the images. Or maybe I've been looking in the wrong direction. I've looked everywhere in the mind and can't find it. That should be the clue. I've looked everywhere and earnestly and sincerely, it's not there. Well, it must dawn on you, maybe I've been looking in the wrong direction. And if that comes up, I'd ask myself, which direction can I look which is not in the mind? Because I look at that and I see that every direction I look in, every direction, will always be in the mind. What way is there out of the mind? And I'd have to look at that, ask myself that question. What way is there out of the mind? Well, the only answer I know out of the mind is full stop. Period. Don't go there. Don't keep going there and looking where the answer is not. In other words, pause the thought. Because that's what thinking is, looking, and I'm looking in the mind, I'm not pausing the thought, I'm going to more thoughts. But if I try to pause the thought, try and look beyond it, look out of it, or step over it, discard it, stop it, do whatever you can to try and pause it. And you, in the very trying, can't do anything. But in the recognition of that, what will happen? You'll let it go, but you'll relax all the intent to do something with it. In that relaxation and resting, you're letting it naturally rest in its uncontrived singularity. Because when you look at it, that's all it is. It's a singularity. And we're not contriving it with thoughts. Contriving means changing it. Let it rest in its uncontrived singularity. And they say the result of that will be you'll be like an old man basking in the sun. What's an old man basking in the sun to apply to you? That he's lying back just resting and relaxing naturally in the warmth and affection and the joyousness of the warmth of the sun. So relax into your self-nature, the real self, which is the one self, is that. And then relax in it continually until, instead of just coming up and going, it'll consolidate, become the truth. And you'll know the truth. And the truth will set you free. And the confidence will come into that.
Yeah, we have a beautiful comment from Rohan. It seems so ridiculous when we look at things properly. We have, without question, acceptance the existence of me and others on the basis of narrative woven around sensory images. Isn't that so? And all our suffering clings to me. Yeah, that's a beautiful,
that's right. Beautiful
summary.
expression of it, yeah.
Yes, perfect. And we have another one from Amarnath. Mind is playing apparently because you have not gone beyond the mind. That from Nisargadatta.
Yeah. And the going beyond the mind, have a look at that. When you pause the thought or let that thought go, or stop it, or whatever you do to it, mind is stopped for a moment. But have you stopped seeing? Have you stopped hearing? Have you stopped breathing? Hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. The life functions are going on. But thought is stopped, so that tells you are prior to the thought. You are beyond the thought. Because while the thought is stopped, you haven't disappeared. You are still going on. There's something there, the awareness or knowingness, whatever. Life itself is there. So you are prior to thought. To go beyond the mind, that's what needs to happen. Be prior to thought.
Yeah. Jesse says, God, I love that old man in the sun pointer.
It's a beautiful one.
It is, the nature is also kind of showing, because that old man relaxing, basking in the sun is just as in nature. Just like the lion you mentioned. Yes, it is beautiful. And now Tanya says, objects, appearances seem solid and real. And they are not real, because they are really fast-moving particles. and not actually solid. Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. Absolutely. Yeah, if you look at the fast rotating blades of the helicopter, I mean, that might be not very relevant to
What
you,
is
but I
this?
used to travel by helicopters all the time.
When it's rotating fast enough, it looks like a solid circle.
Exactly.
Put
yeah.
your finger there and have a look at it, and you'll see whether it's solid or not. Little finger will go off.
Yeah, it's only 5 years since I'm not flying on the chopper to the ship and back. And yeah, we have special trainings, not to even, because it just looks so solid, not to even come from certain direction, because that fast moving, rotating things can actually suck you in and chop your head off. And if you look at any other solid object, it just rotates a little bit faster, so you can't penetrate through. But that's a science, that's what we learned from the investigation, deeper investigation into the reality, and every investigation gives the attention to part of the reality and makes it more solid. So it is one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at non-solidity of the whole appearance is just see how changing it is all the time. Just changing all the time. I mean, the chair on which I'm sitting has been a tree not that long ago, and there is a cut on the material that used to be whatever, the plant. And there is a lot of work included in converting one into the other. And that workers that were included into converting it, they ate food and they were breathing air and exchanging water. So the whole world is actually playing up by changing everything, by changing our bodies, by changing the thinking, all of it. So yeah, nothing solid. And then just trying to understand how things are just appearances and not real. Look at a dream. That's even easier one. How your mind constructs the whole world in the dream, and deconstructs it the moment you change the vibration from gamma to alpha, whatever.
Put all these things you think are real, put them under a microscope, and see how solid and real they are. You'll see big gaps in them, big spaces in them.
Yeah.
Constantly changing.
Actually, under appropriate microscope, you probably won't even see particles there. You'll just see fast-moving energy, vibration.
Yes.
Everything vibrates.
Break it down far enough, that's all you see. Yeah.
Yeah, but this one, when you think of the one who I think in our modern history was first asserting the unreality of form is emptiness, emptiness is form, is Buddha. He didn't have electron microscopes or any other microscopes. And yet he could look through the nature of things and see that the nature of things is transient, and they really emptiness. Like if you stop, you can see how the things come into existence, how you select them out by paying selective attention as a child. How you learn your mother's face or your mother's voice by distinguishing it from the rest of the manifestation and putting label on it. That's how you construct the reality, by the act of accepting its existence with the belief and label. So it really is a pure field of potentiality that is interpreted by your senses as the world you know and the world you see. But yeah, actually you can use anything. If you really need the assertion of the emptiness, using of science, everything that helps to quieten the mind is good enough to quieten the mind. Because the ultimate answer is, well, why would you even care? And I don't know is good enough. I don't know if there is a solidity. It is apparent solidity. It seems solid. But
if you break it down in mind, break it down in your mind, even it's not.
Yeah.
Like there's one of the Buddhist folks sitting meditating with his back to a rock. And he says, this rock behind me is transparent.
Yeah.
And people think, well, he can see through the rock. But he couldn't see through the rock, but he knew the truth about it.
Yeah.
And then they think, well, people can walk through walls and walk through them. Well, the people that walking through them are transparent also.
Yes.
And the walls they walk through are transparent. Of course they can, but not in this pattern, shape and form we believe ourselves to be.
Yeah. And you can't really stop I mean, you know, you can. They are special trainings for special powers, CD powers, and stuff like this, where you can make yourself disbelieve in solidity of form and start appearing in a couple of places. You can, but it's not necessary. It is a distraction. It is just another way to distract yourself from the obviousness of that existence shining right in front of you and changing forms and dancing. We've got another comments here. John David, does anyone know where the old man basking in the sun quote comes from?
Yes, there's a Buddhist book, I forget what the name of it is, but Keith Dowman has written it, so get one of these books. You'll see he's got a book, that title, I think.
Oh.
It's a title of a book.
And there is Steve, everything we can say is a concept, as helpful as concepts might be. The beginningness feels like it is attached to a particular body. Did you experience this and simply stay with the awareness without adding concepts? Yeah, that's a question. So the concept is helpful as it may be. Beingness feels like it is attached to a particular body. The beingness feels attached.
Yes.
Did you experience this and simply stay with the awareness without adding concept?
Yes. Recognise the awareness was there and drop the concepts. But it's seemingly expressing through a body. Now, what you are is the basic screen on which everything appears on. You are that awareness. Awareness is absolute. Now, you can't tell me what awareness is, but you can. But everything appears in that awareness. Your awareness of being conscious. Consciousness is the first thing that appears in it for us, and in that consciousness appears all sorts of other things. But it's all the awareness. The awareness is nothing solid or substantial, but it's the basic screen on which everything appears, and you can't say it's not there. And you can't, so if it's not there, you can't say it's not there, it must be there. But what it is, you can't describe. So you are that pure awareness. And in that awareness, everything appears, the world and everything in it appears. But the basic screen is not contaminated or corrupted by anything that appears on it and disappears on it. So you're always and ever that. Appearances come and appearances go. But that's what they call it, a phenomenal manifestation. The definition is made up of phenomena, all these different things appearing, playing around, disappearing. And the definition of phenomena is that which appears to be. So again, pointing out it's only appearance. And you are that. Everything is that. There's no separation whatsoever. But if you weren't expressing through that being or that body, how could you say anything at all? That body's got the brain, the heart, the lungs, all these organs in it, which the life is flowing through, and that life is expressions of that awareness. Awareness forms it all, and the consciousness and everything in it. And yet the forms are nothing but empty. Awareness is empty, cognising emptiness. And emptiness is the form, and the forms are nothing but the emptiness. So it hasn't changed from that, but it appears to, seems to be so. And it's constantly transient, constantly changing. That's its vibration. Vibration is a movement of energy. So if you like to use that term, it's all energy. Or you can use the term God or whatever label you like to label it with. But it's still only a subtle throb or pulsation, and not even a full movement. Now, with a full movement, it'll have time in it, but it hasn't got to start. When does now start? Grab it right now, and even as you're trying to grab it, it's vibrating away from you to the next moment. Spontaneous, but no duration. Duration is time.
Yeah, so it is actually, what was it? It's frozen. Beingness without particular concept, because the beingness assumes the identity of the body, or let's say the identity is changing all the time also. I may be a wife right now, or I may be a daughter, or I may be a sister, or the identity, or I may be an actress that is changing roles. Today I'm a villain, tomorrow I'm a heroine. So all that which is added on the being, is
Concepts.
is a cage of concepts. It's an idea. It's an image superimposed on that being. So if I drop off the concepts, I can't drop off the being. The presence, the being, the awareness of presence, the knowing that I am is still there. But if I don't say what I am, I don't know what I am. I am, but what I am, that there comes the concept. The woman, the polish, the this, the that. But this is only added. So if the concepts are dropped, they don't have to be dropped. They can still be lingering there. It's not a problem. But they disbelieved. Yeah, they disbelieved. If you know them, they're just ornaments. But you are the gold. You're not the ornaments. You're not the way it shapes and forms and patterns. You are the pure thing. And now we have also Julia. Yesterday is a dream because now is the only happening in thought. The past and future are fraction of the trillionth of a second from this moment. Now is everything. Now is everything is dreaming. Yeah. Amarnath, moving, waking dream world, time, place, persons, is unfolding on static, unmanifested awareness, self. If we stop thinking and talking, dreamer is absent. No describer, only awareness is there. Beautiful. Yeah, that's it. And now Megan, old man basking in the sun, Long Chenpa, treasury of natural perfection. That's the book, I guess. Thank you. And Bhupana Anand, during meditation, what should we really meditate? In the realized state, there is nothing to meditate. Exactly. Yeah, find out that you are already in that realized state rather than going there and meditating on something.
And you're saying there's no meditator and nothing to meditate on. That's the natural meditation that's going on spontaneously.
Undistracted non-meditation.
Yeah, undistracted non-meditation.
And if there is no one, it means there is no narrative, there is no credit taking. So if the sitting of the body happens, you don't have to call it anything. You don't have to say, I meditate. It's just what's happening. And then, of course, there is nothing that needs to be done. Recognition is only in the presence, in the present moment, in the immediacy, and it's now. And if the recognition doesn't happen, the nowness is still there, the being, the awareness of presence is still there. Whether there are clouds on the sky or not, the sky is still there, it's always there. And you are that. What else would you be? And yeah, that's it for now. With the questions and sharing. Yeah, so we encourage you to share your insights because they're beautiful and they're yours. Because whatever we say is actually something that has been digested through this transformer. But you need something that really moves the costume that the awareness is using in your case.
Everybody and everything is a unique expression of that. Why can't you understand what another person's saying or doing? People ask that question. Why can't you see? Because each pattern is a unique expression, and there are no two patterns the same. It's all unique, and it can express in myriads and myriads of different ways. Just the same as seemingly can be obscured in myriads of different ways. Each one will have different concepts that are blocking it and believing they're real.
Yes.
But the word's not the thing. Any concept or word is not it. Any description is not described. Any description, what we're describing right now, is not its description. The word's not the thing.
Yes, so we have another beautiful insight. John David, he wrote it in 2015 and came across today and wanted to share. That's what he wrote. When I open my eyes, you see love everywhere. When you open your eyes, I see myself in love. Beautiful. Yeah, me, you, they're all just different vibrations, unique expression, like you say. Adrian, is there a shift from consciousness to awareness as part of the recognition?
Well, yeah. Well, the basic thing is you got to come back and not to come back, but recognise awareness as the base, and consciousness is existence. Be conscious that you know your existence, and that existence is totally aware that it exists.
Yeah.
So the awareness is a totality that which consciousness appears. Otherwise, consciousness and awareness in its pure nature can't say, do anything, but you can't negate it. You're not unaware, you know otherwise. But to express it or explain it or say something about it, you need the consciousness of knowing, the pure awareness.
Yeah, so can you shift from consciousness to awareness? When you get unconscious, you're in awareness. Right here.
Right now.
Yeah, the way the awareness and consciousness were distinguished, and I like the way you distinguish them. That awareness is stillness, and consciousness is the stillness aware of its existence. So it is moving. To be actually aware of its existence, it is already an activity. It is the energy moving. So it is aware of existence. So when it is still, there is no awareness of existence. There is awareness, plain stillness, but not of the particular being, because that requires the moving. And being, not being, I am, not I am, whatever. But the awareness is something that is, we call that it is. But it is not a thing. It is a no thing. Awareness isn't. I mean, it is and it isn't. And it neither is nor it isn't. It is, it isn't. Yeah, the consciousness is what comes and goes. When the body comes into an existence and then the body decomposes, or you go unconscious, that comes and goes. And whether the shift is required, not really. I mean, shift to unknowing.
Just a recognising.
Yes, and again, there are different definitions of it.
Cognising is knowing.
Yes.
Just a re-knowing. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. How would you renew your mind? Keep reminding yourself that I'm not the person, I'm the absolute.
Yeah.
I am the awareness. Absolute is the awareness. Everything appears.
Yeah, so the recognition that the dream is just a dream. As Nisargadatta says, dream is not your problem. You don't have to try to end it or stop it. That doesn't really need, you're still the consciousness. Recognizing, that's kind of a lucid dream. But yeah, the shift ultimately is, you can't want it now. Why would you? Enjoy the ride. Don't want to stop it. Don't want to check out. Just enjoy the ride. But they are, of course, insights in which when you look deeply into a dream, and it's just a dream, and that everything is nothing, and you are nothing, the universe may collapse spontaneously, and in that nothingness there is no appearance. So those moments of collapsing of the appearance, they may appear. They may just be experienced as a little kiss of eternity, or a little insight, a little miracle, but it's not required.
Break the inside down to in-seeing. You're seeing innately your true nature, instead of seeing outwardly into all the things. You're seeing and recognising, not you, but there is a seeing and cognising that I am. I am that seeing. Seeing is happening. And as soon as I say it's a seer, I formed a subject, and the seen becomes divided into the awareness, consciousness, and all the rest being divided up. That's become the object. That's dualism. But the actuality is the in-seeing, just like intuition. It's an inner teaching. Something we learn intuiting something is there's an inner teaching. That intelligence energy is letting us know, teaching us what everything is.
Yeah. Yeah, and there is always a great relief in understanding that there is nothing to be anticipated, because what is as it is right now is enough. That's it. It doesn't have to be more of a shift. It doesn't have to be deeper understanding. It doesn't have to be more profound insight or moment of a collapse. Or it is. That's how that absolute experiences itself and expresses itself right now. That's perfect. That's it. And Tanya says, yes, no thought is true. Dear Bob, you take on this on. There is no personal God, Christ, Shiva concept, yet appears for the devotee in his devotion, just like you, Bob and Kat, for us now. So can you say your take on? There is no personal God, Christ or Shiva, but it may appear to the devotee as the object of devotion.
Yeah. No. As it tells you in the Bible.
Yeah, it is.
In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. Oh, that's all that God is a word, a label we put on some of the things. Yeah. All things were made by Him, by the Word, and that's true. All these things in the manifestation, we put words on, and nothing was made without the Word. So that's the only God there is, if you like to call it that, the Word. We'll talk about the Word made flesh, formed into the human form and everything, all Word. And the Word's not the thing, it's not the real. Without the Word, what are you? Present and aware. But their words have got to put on to express it.
Yeah, now, thank you, Kat, for wanting to come out of dream, also the part of the dream. Enjoy the dream without the dreamer or enjoyer. Yes, beautiful. Wanting to wake up is part of the dream.
Who's that?
That's Amarnath.
Oh, yeah.
And now John David had insight into Zen koan, the sound of one hand clapping last night. If everything is that, how can there be two hands? It is one without the second. But of course.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And Caroline, and if you see the Buddha on the side of the road, kill him.
Nothing on the label. See, that's why they call it in the scriptures ignorance. We've got all these great traditions were formed by someone who's seen through it and put it up in words and thoughts, and then it's been added to by others and it gets obscured again. But what we've done, we've set up the ones that have put it out first as saints, sages, saviours, seers and gods. Set them all up as that. But not realising they're just messengers. And we've worshipped the messenger and lost sight of the message. Get into the message, that's the reality, not the messenger. And they call it clearly in the scripture, they say it's ignorance. And the people think, oh, they're talking about, I'm saying I'm dull or stupid. But it doesn't mean that at all. It means you are ignoring. We are ignoring your reality, your true nature, and focusing on the conceptual reason. And emptiness is form, form is emptiness. So don't ignore your true nature. Bring it back into the forefront.
Yeah, we got a little technical issues again. I'm sorry, I'm looking distracted because a couple of people reported they lost the stream and they can't get back. So I'm sending links around, but we'll see. Rachel lost us first, now Jane. So I'm really sorry for that. Not quite sure what I can do, just sending link again. Rohan says ignorance equals ignoring essence. Yeah, ignorance. Adrian, when Jesus said, I've overcome the world, what is your interpretation of this?
I am.
Yeah.
I am. That's that sense of I am as a sense of presence. Well, that's overcoming the world because everything appears in that presence. Can you postulate anything outside of it? Absent. If there's no presence, there's absence. Now, if there's no absence, there can't be presence. If there's no presence, there can't be absence. They cancel each other out. Where's the world in that?
Yeah. And also, when you not define yourself as the separate entity, you are the world.
Yeah.
Because if there is no idea that says I am here and the world is outside of me, without those concepts, there is only world. This is as much part of the world as everything else. So you can say, I am the world, or I've swallowed the world. Somebody said, I think Nisargadatta said that, or
no,
Douglas Harding. Oh yeah. Or
Douglas was driving down from Brisbane to Melbourne in a car, and he says, as he's coming down, he says things had come up, and then when you drove past them, they disappear.
Yeah.
And he says, coming down, I swallowed the world as it's going down. He swallowed it all up. It disappeared. And that's right. You walk down the street, you come level with the light post, you move past it, and it's gone.
Mm.
It's only when it's in the range of visitors it's got some reality.
Yeah. And Ben also had issues with the video, and he switched from Safari to Chrome, and it seemed to fix the technical issues. Thank you, Ben. Yeah, a couple of people lost the video. I don't know if they had audio, but now Rachel says the video returned, and Jane is back also. Great. World equals mind equals personal I. That's Amarnath. Yep, you are the world. It's you actually, the world appears in you, because you are the consciousness in which the world comes and goes and changes. What you are is unchanging. So the world is, you can say is your body, you can say is your expression, you can say is it's your experiencing, the experiencing. It wouldn't even need the word yours.
No, for you there's no other apart from you.
Yeah, it's only you. We are just the content of the you. Gabriel, who is ignorant? What is the energy behind that? Who is ignorant? What is the energy behind that?
Well, that's the way it's expressing. Everything expresses dualistically. It's one essence, and that's the energy, is the vibration, because energy is a vibration. A vibration is a movement, an activity, and energy always vibrates in its opposites. Good, bad, pleasant, painful, happy, sad, loving, hating, and those opposites are still the same stick. And if we didn't put the labels on them, good, bad, pleasant, painful, what would they be? It'd only be the one essence vibrating, patterning, shaping, forming, which it is, and expressing as everything. And that's all it ever is. But the labels, the discriminated, the words we've taken on, we've put the energy of belief into them. Yeah. And the belief that the word is real. But no belief is actual.
So there really isn't anyone that is ignorant. It's not a person that is ignorant. It's just that true nature, or that essence, is so transparent that for the mind it is so unattractive and uninteresting that it just doesn't see it. We can say it ignores it, but it doesn't even ignore it because it doesn't have the tools to actually grasp it in any way. Like the mind sees objects. It needs the emptiness or gaps between the objects to actually see them, but it can't grasp the space. It can't grasp the silence. It is tuned the way so it focuses on distractions and it ignores the basic screen.
As you say, it's all seemingly so.
Yeah, that's why there is no one that is an ignorant and is ignoring the true nature, because the mind cannot not ignore it. It has to ignore it because it is designed to focus on distractions, on objects. But when the mind relaxes, or there is no energy of attention or belief flowing into feeding this mind, the basic screen it becomes shining forth. If you withdraw your attention of the interest in all the distractions, that naturally the awareness of presence, it get unobscured. It's like the sky that is visible, or the sun that is visible when the clouds disperse. So there is no ignorant, there is just ignoring. And only in the mind, because without the mind there is no ignoring, it's just it. But it's a good question, and thank you for that. It kind of helps to put it out more precisely. And Ben says, I love the phrase Bob uses, dead images, because the sense of aliveness that always is only obscured, it only appears to be absent or dead when there is a fixation on the image. Yeah, that's a beautiful highlight. Thank you for that. Yes, dead images, that's true. Yeah, or mechanical patterns. They're not dead, nothing's dead, of course. But trying to fixate on something kind of...
It's past, yeah.
Yeah, keeps... like it obscures that aliveness of the movement. Yeah, nice one. Tanya, discard all the rubbish, thought says, and notice that doesn't change. Discard all the rubbish, thought says, and notice that doesn't change as that what you are, as that is what you are. What changes cannot be you. What you are aware of, thoughts, body, apparent world, cannot be you, because you are prior to appearances. Laughing. I know you know that, but I just felt to express this. Wonderful. Keep expressing it. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
What changes cannot be you. Absolutely. Because you see the change. So you are the awareness of the change, not the change. So everything changes, thoughts, feelings, everything. Yeah, it's never enough to highlight those little insights. Keep bringing them up. Thank you. And Julia, my video stuff too. I just shut it down and started again by re-clicking on the link. Yeah, I don't know. Now America is also falling out of the video. Yeah, we see it all the time. So don't know. We'll drop it. I hopefully download on YouTube will be all right. And if you have the sound, that's and sorry, really. I mean, Armanas says, thanks, Kat, for our no one is ignorance or ignorant. Sweet dreams, mind. And John David, I think today's meeting is really special. Strong pointers and excellent explanation from Bob and Kat. I'm so happy. Thank you and love you.
Thank you. Thank you, John David. Love you.
Yeah. We just had another meeting an hour ago and a half on the Nothing conference. We were invited to speak on the conference and it was really sweet. Julia was with us and Jessie, and I don't know if that was the Ben but it was, I don't know how many people really. We had 8-year-old boy who asked what is love. How amazing is that young age, when they still remember quite a lot of natural state, they still ask the parents questions like, if I had another mommy, would I still be me? Yeah, you would have different face, different genetics, but the me doesn't change. The me is always, the sense of I am is always the same. Just like, the body is aging, but the sense of presence is not aging. And the boy asked, what is love? And Bob asked, what is not? Well, it's not love. Everything's love. Can talk forever on this one, but Julia says, it was the internet offering an opportunity to observe the emptiness between two people talking about it. Yes. Yes, two people is just one in two costumes. Is always one in infinite amount of versions of itself, just because that's the only way it can grasp its infinite, omnipotent creativity. And John David is asking, is there a recording of the conference or link that we can go to watch? I'm not sure. Julia, is it? Can anyone watch it? I don't really know. We just didn't. Yeah, we just shown up, answered a few questions, and
probably be recorded.
Yeah, it is recorded because Julia got the ticket which allowed her to record. But whether it will be available online, I'm not very sure. I assume it would. I think so. Tanya says, yes, I wish to express the same sentiment too. I'm so happy to be able to join in on those meetings. So much clarity expressed. Thank you and love to you all. Thank you and lots of love. Julia says, I think you have to pay for the conference first and then you can watch it for a year. I see. Yeah, we didn't even, because they did actually encourage to advertise the conference, but we know that the whole thing is structured the way so the world can see it, and we are at the end of the world. So at the end of the world, the whole conference was going on from 9 in the evening till 9 in the morning, whole night. Like, who would want to be staying whole night to see different speakers speaking live? Yes, so we didn't. And again, this is when you see so many different speakers all talking about nothing, all speaking the same in slightly different words, you might be mindful that it may be another way your mind is craving entertainment rather than doing honest investigation, which has to happen in this vehicle, not by being entertained outwardly. Although life will take you where it takes you. And it takes Julia to see a lot of speakers and enjoy them, and I was there myself, and nothing wrong in anything. Amarnath, thanks Bob for your there is only love, nothing else. There is no lover. Yep, love is life. And Mukti is asking what was the conference called. It was called Nothing Conference. And there was 2 stages on the Nothing Conference. One stage was Nothing stage and another one was Everything stage. We were invited to the Nothing stage. And Jessie says, yes, it is by donation, if I remember right. So you can probably donate and watch the recording. And Jessie sent a link, nothingcon.com. That's the link, nothingcon.com. And Steve, it is late in UK. Thank you and good night. Thumbs up. Thank you. Have a sweet dream.
Yes, thank you, Steve.
And Ben, can you speak about honest investigation, Kat? Yeah, it is something that also happens. It is not something that you do, like as a doer, I now decide to crash the system. No, it is something that spontaneously arises. First, what usually arises is the genuine interest, longing, or love for the truth. And following that, what arises is the commitment to see through the changing, through the bullshit, through the illusion. And there are different ways in which, even Bob today on the conference, he gave quite a few different ways to do the investigation, again, not for the me, but to inspire that movement of life, the inspiration to look through what is the me, where is the me, try and locate that sense of me. When you're locating it, where are you looking at it from? Or when you ask the question, who am I? What is that question? Who is asking it? Who is the questioner asking the question? Are they even separate? The questioner and the question, they arise simultaneously. But that sort of investigation, it won't work if I will just relate what my findings are. They have to genuinely happen where that longing or curiosity for the truth, or suffering and desire to end it, in whichever way life is presenting that genuine interest, that is where the investigation originates, and that is where it has to be conducted. And again, that's why we're dropping all the pointers to inspire that curiosity, and that in certain cases it even is called a desire for freedom, or being fed up with suffering and bondage. Whichever way life provides that propelling energy which creates the turn, the shift, the honest investigation. How else can you reward the honest investigation? Do you have any idea how else to put it in word?
Well, it means that.
You have to look for yourself, Bob says.
Yes,
Nobody can do it for
genuine. If it's sincerity there and honesty, you realise, you've got to say that happens itself.
Yes. Yes, the one thing that is if we look at the opposite, what would be opposite of the honest investigation? Expecting that someone will give you the ready-made answer and you'll just eat it. That's not going to happen, because that answer will mean completely different thing for you. I can say something and you will receive it through your own filter of interpretation, personality, past experiences. All what you receive is going to be interpretation. It's not going to be what I'm transmitting. What even as I say it, it is already contrived by my by this transformer, but this vehicle. It will have different pitch, different sound, different way of speaking. So it isn't really, the message is not transmitted through the words, but it does contain certain frequency which may evoke certain response on the non-verbal, non-conceptual level. And that non-verbal, non-conceptual level is where the resonance happens. But it is, the honest investigation is that you do it for yourself, by yourself, in yourself, that it does not come from outside. It's not that, Buddha achieved enlightenment and liberated all sentient beings. Really? So in his world, maybe, but in your world, if you're still suffering, Buddha did no good. I believe you don't, or at least you're very, very close not to, but yeah, thank you for asking it, because I'm pretty certain you're asking it for others. So it gets clearer. Yeah, nobody can give it to you. Pat it in you, like Bob says, pat it with the peacock feather and transmit it. And now Julia says, oh well, this girl still likes to have fun. Julia has fun, the entertainment. Good on you, Julia. It is the life having fun. Beautiful. Let it have all the fun in the world.
That life wasn't expressing through her. What fun could she have?
Exactly. Yeah, life is manifesting perfect fun-loving Julia, and you are that life having fun in the name of Julia. That's great. And Amarnath says, thanks, Kat, for discarding the entertainer. Yeah, enjoy the entertaining, ing on it. And Neil, who we are is creatures of the earth which have evolved through time. Everything else is conditioning, whether emotional or physical. Creatures of the earth. Yeah, that's one way of looking at it, that we are creatures of the earth, but now you're talking about the body. And as the body, you can say creature of the earth that has been conditioned emotionally and physically.
But look into it deeply. There is no creator, there is no creation, and no creatures. Creatures are a result of the believing result of a creator and a creation.
Yeah.
But the creatures are things. Everything is created is a thing. Everything is a thing. Nothing's really ever happened, but it appears to be so and appears to be real.
Yes.
It's the one essence. It's that one God or intelligence energy or life, whatever you like to call it, that's patterning, shaping, forming, and expressing as everything.
Yeah.
Not one thing in particular, but everything. And the thing is really no thing, because it's all appearing on that basic screen, which is no thing. Can something come from no thing? It can't. So it's still no thing appearing, or seemingly so. It never changes nature.
Yeah.
It's always and never been that. Complete, whole, total, absolute. And you are that.
Yeah. Yeah, so is there really earth, because that is, earth's showing up first and then bodies showing up on earth? Or is it the consciousness in which the body and the earth show up? Experientially, there would be a consciousness, and conceptually, there would be the other way around. The best way out of the paradox is, I don't know, if I conceptualize the past in which the body was growing, the earth was first, then of course I'm back in the conceptual. If I don't conceptualize, there is just being, and now as I look, I add to myself legs and arms and the room, and then I learn that there is a city and a country and a continent. That goes in a reverse way. So experientially is the consciousness and whatever appears in it, including the body and the world. And conceptually is the other way around. The best way out of the paradox, I don't know. Or who wants to know?
Recognizing the true nature as emptiness, as the Buddha said, forming, patterning, and shaping is everything. And the forms are nothing but the emptiness, vibrating as the different pattern shapes and forms, and seemingly real until investigated. Seeing it's the one essence that is both neither full nor empty.
Yeah.
Like an image in the mirror, you can't say it's not there. Go and try and grab the image, you can't say it is there. So you can't say it is or is not.
Yes.
And that's the same with this manifestation. Can't say it is or it is not, but to each seeming individual who hasn't investigated, it seems very, very real.
Yeah.
But the dream at night seems real too while you're locked into it.
And that's a very, very good analogy. That is what I was actually gonna add to what Neil says. It evolved through time. Look at your dream at night. When you visit, I don't know, some people have either don't remember their dream at all, or they just kind of chew on whatever the bits and pieces from the day. But if you remember any dream that was worthy of remembering, the dream when maybe you were running away from the villain, or you were flying, or the dream where you were in unfamiliar circumstances and environment, where is that environment come from? Did it evolve through time? It didn't. It just came up fully furnished. It just shown up in the space of the mind, and it disappeared, and this one has shown up. And this, conceptually, in the overlay of the constructed world which we believe into existence, conceptually, it evolved through time. And we don't say this is not true. We just say it appears to be as such, and we really do believe it into existence. That's why we experience it.
When does time begin?
Yeah.
Can you say it build, as they say, it began with a big bang 10 million light ago? But anything that has a beginning has an end.
Yeah.
When does eternity? Eternity is right now. And when does now begin? As you say it's beginning, it's ending. And as you say it's ending, it's beginning. It's got no duration. Time is a mental concept. Is there a past? If you don't think about it. And without thinking of the past, you can't say there's a past. But you'll say, I was in the past. Well, I'll say, try and live yesterday. That's the past. Try and live a moment ago. You can't, but you can recall it. You can't recall all of it. But what you recall, the only life it's got is what you're giving in this moment. And this, well, it's not even a moment, but this immediacy is gone, moved on. It's already gone. The same with the future. You can anticipate and imagine a future, but you can't live a moment in the future. And that anticipation and imagination going on right in this presence. So, I say the earth, as you say, seemingly evolves in time, but if you see that time is a concept also, nothing's ever happened. No thing, we say nothing. We take that the wrong way. We think nothing's a vacuum or a void, zero. But we don't mean that. We mean no thing. All this pattern, shapes and forms are things. But the things are no thing in reality, only appearing to be so.
Yeah.
Vibrations of energy appearing to be solid and substantial.
Amarnath says, you are already that. Bob started investigations with this. Investigator is an illusion. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point actually. Even if you believe you're starting from the mind, even if you believe investigating as an I, as me, I will look into the me. If the investigation is successful, at the end of it there is no I or me. It's just a pure unbound, contrived by concept, unlimited sense of presence.
And even if you can get even the smallest glimpse of that right now, you know, you drop the investigation, you start with the fact I already am the absolute.
Yeah.
And where can you move to from there?
Yeah.
What can you add to the absolute? Nothing. Can you move away from it? No. So you've always and never been absolutely that.
And that's actually a wonderful way to conduct the investigation. Say, I am that, and see what is going to stand in the way and teach you otherwise. Say, I am that, and then, the mind comes, yes, but no, I understand it, but I believe it, but I don't experience it, but all that is the what stands in the way, is what obscures it. And as Bob says it, you start from the fact that you are already that and see what obscures it and discard it. So see what beliefs, ideas or concepts are trying to convince you otherwise, that you are not that. Everything is that. How could you not be that? So see what is there that stands in the way.
And innately you know you are that, because you say that's the chair, that's the carpet, that's you, that's me, that's the flower, that's the sky, that's space. Everything is already that which we put other words on. We discriminate it with the word, and the word's not the real.
Yeah.
So it never changed its true nature. Everything is the no thing, and the no thing is the everything.
Yes, there is. Jane says there is no time. Time is a concept. Yep. And Neil says cheers. Our senses say there is a reality, Neil says. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole structure. There is life essence, and this is like a transformer through which that life is pouring out and is showing up as the hearing, seeing, tasting, touching, smelling, and whatever is seen, heard, tasted, touched or smelled.
And feeling is a sensation, that's one of the senses.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
And the thinking also.
Is that feeling static?
No.
No, it's not. It's constantly transient. It's changing.
That's the brilliance of the whole illusion. That there could have been nothing and there really is a nothing. And then in that nothing, the expression comes which have the capacity to project the world completely furnished outside of itself, whether it is at night during the dream or in the day during the daydream or waking dream. It is incredible that mechanism which has the capacity to construct the world out of the sensory impulses that are interpreted as seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, and thinking. That's brilliant. It could have been nothing. And it feels so real. How real it feels, how solid it feels. It's marvelous. It's incredible. Especially when you realize that it is really all made by nothing. It's really constructed. Jane, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, no hearer, taster, toucher or smeller. That's right. Yeah. Taster, toucher, smeller come up in that space of hearing, tasting, touching, seeing. They come up together, like object and subject come up together. There is a hearing and there is sound and me hearing it. That's an illusion that there is me hearing and the sound out there. Without the space of hearing, capacity of hearing, there would be nothing. So there is only hearing, that's real. And the mind constructs the duality that come up together and collapse together. There's the seer and the seen come up and collapse together. Hears and heard. And Neil says, a blind man touches reality. Absolutely. All of the senses. Seeing, hearing, tasting, touching and smelling are responsible for the perfect, beautiful illusion of space. Because seeing is the most obvious one, but hearing is also kind of, it has spacious orientation. Touching, tasting, this all creates space. And the thinking creates time. So the time-space is totally created by senses. Brilliant. Even if one of the senses is lacking, there are other compensating for it. Yes, the blind man will still experience space in different way, but it will be there. Mukti. We are this paradox. Nothing and something. Donald Trump and other associated patterns are having a very real effect at the experiencing level. Interests me how this apparent phenomenon activates feelings in this form, and maybe action, protesting. Yet I can see that he is me. Beautiful. And nothing has happened. Brilliant. Yes, that is clarity. And absolutely, reactions can be triggered. And they're not yours. They belong to the body. The body has been conditioned and prepared for this sort of the reaction. So suddenly the reaction happens. If there's no one there, there's no one to object to the reaction. There's no one to want to fix it. It is happening spontaneously. The protest may come up. The manifestation may come up. Anything may come up. Everything is allowed unconditionally, allowed to appear and disappear. And yes, everything is that I am in different reflections. It reflects and appears as everything. Now, oh gosh, it's blocking me again. Julia, I found thoughts about this part of the dream to be nightmarish as well. And Neil says, yes, the existence of time is man-made. Jessie, I was just jumping around. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I got it. Neil says first, I feel the media does a good job at altering perception. Yeah, media is also part of life. Yeah, it does a good job. Julia, as I was allowing entertainment earlier today, I heard a speaker mentioning a shift. It sounded to me like there is a shift that is supposed to occur. I am not really sure if I understand what that means. What is shifting? Last night, for a moment, I brought into a dream of me. I bought into a dream of me and the world. I don't know. I have had many shifting insights, but never had a shift where I am constantly seeing everything from non-conceptual, ever-fresh presence awareness. Perhaps this is the problem from being entertained. Can you explain more about this idea of shifting? Would you like to say something on shifting?
Shifting is energy. Everything is a vibrating pattern of energy. It's constantly transient, constantly changing, or if you like to say, shifting.
You can also see the shifting, this is an easy way to explain shifting. When you deal with your children, you are shifting to the position of the mom. Then you go and you deal with your husband. Then you're shifting to the position of the wife. Then you are dealing with us. You're shifting to the position of a friend. This is all shifting. So the shifting out of the role. There is no role. You don't know what you are, who you are. You are the pure being. It's shifting out of any particular assumption or costume or role that you're playing. And even if the body is still playing particular role, the identification is not with it. The perspective shifts out of that identification and is kind of, one could even say, witnessing, but it's not really that there is something that witnesses the role or the appearance. It's just pure knowing of whatever is happening.
Still the playing of that awareness. Consciousness and awareness is playing, expressing.
Yeah.
Patterning, shifting, doing all that.
So it's not that there is someone
all
that
constantly transient, all constantly changing.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that word. We don't use it that often, but it is a good enough pointer, because every pointer has certain, limitations inbuilt in it, and it has certain uses. If it resonates and if it kind of works, then you can see the shift in the moment. Expecting the shift to be permanent is again expectation and anticipation of the future. But if you see in the moment that body mind called Julia is acting in particular manner, but there is awareness, there is stillness, and there is this completely neutral, accepting, loving being in which it happens, that and you tend to rather identify with that completely neutral, open space than with that role player. You could call it shift if that resonates. Or you could call it realization, or you could call it remembering or recognizing. It doesn't matter what they call it.
Or the focus of attention.
Yes, the perception, the attention, yes. Jesse says, they are not our senses, is the non-dual view. Sensing happens, as does a sense of a personal me, but the latter is a mirage. Beautiful clarification. Yes. Absolutely, sensing happens. There's no sensor. Yes, the existence of time is man-made, says Neil. And Julia, I found thoughts about this part of the dream to be nightmarish as well. Oh, that was about the Trump and everything that's happening. Kat, you are a very good actress. Thanks and love. Armana, thank you.
You what?
Good actress. We are all Oscar actors. We are all so brilliant in acting that we so completely buy into our roles that we completely forget who we are. And we act as that mother or Julia, or I was acting for 41 years or something. Yeah, that's...
As Shakespeare says, all the world's a stage, doesn't he? In which the actors strut around them.
Yes. Julia, I feel the media does a good job at altering perception. Someone said, it was Neil, and Julia says it does. Wouldn't it be cool if all of our TV and internet programming pointed out that program can be seen through? It would be brilliant, yeah. But it is brilliant the way it is too, that it doesn't, because if unless you really lose something, you don't appreciate having it. So to wake up to the dream, you gotta fall asleep first. And John David, awareness is uncreated. It is that which is. No doing is required to be aware. You are that. Beautiful.
Uncreated, that's what I said before.
Yes. Uncreated, so you can't even say it is. You can't say it is, you can't say it isn't.
Nothing's created.
Nothing's created, yes. And it can't be done, no doing. And Amarnath replies to Neil, a blind man touches reality. Amarnath says, be fully naked for reality. That's quoting you, Bob. Yep. John David, beautiful explanation on shifting. Kat, thank you. I don't know where it comes from, it just comes. Thank you. And Jane, I think shift in relation, non-duality is pointing to the seeing of a pattern, seeing that, and then there is a cognizing emptiness. Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, if you actually see any behavior pattern, reaction pattern, or even meaning-making pattern or interpreting pattern, if you see it as a pattern, as a habit, then you obviously unidentified from it. You see it as a movement in consciousness. So you are that consciousness in which the pattern happens. And that's already a shift. If you believe you are that reaction, you are that interpretation of meaning making, this is me, this is my belief, this is what I stand for. The personalization of it is shifting into the confined idea, separate, limited idea of being an entity. And shifting out of it is seeing it as an impersonal movement.
Gone over time.
We're going over time. Okay, you hungry?
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Yes, we have.
Love you all.
Love you all, and we have thank you messages, and shift happens. Tass says, Jane says correct. That's it. Shifting, ing. Wonderful, wonderful that the shift is happening. So lots of love, and have a beautiful Sunday for Aussies and New Zealanders, and Saturday night for the rest of the world.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you all.